Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screenzilla here and I hope you're well. And you join me today in the T-29 prototype tank. Yes, the T-29, the Goliath American. The heavy tank, which would spawn the T as well, T-34, T-34, that's the one. Or was it the T-30? No, it was the T-30. Sorry, there's too many of these. And the T-34, they spawn each other. They're all basically the same bloody tank, just different guns and slightly different bits on them. So the T-29, the premium American tank. Now this tank was based off of the T-26 Pershing. The T-26 Pershing. Now, the actual body of the vehicle was a lengthened chassis of that T-26 E3, and it featured extremely heavy armour. It also had a more powerful Ford GAC engine, producing around about 770 horsepower, which really helped out. It also had slightly improvements over the driver controls, as well as having this massive turret incorporating a big 105mm T5 gun. On the back of the turret you will notice it is lengthened a little bit, and it's quite a big turret. There's a big old weight back there, where the commander sits. You can just sort of swing around there. That back section is pretty much weighted just to keep the gun in balance, because it's a big old gun basically. The T-29 was basically developed because the Americans needed something to work against the German Tiger II tank, and they were really struggling with things. They had the Super Pershing and things like that, but it was still struggling a little bit. So the T-29 and T-30 were proposed to deal with these German Wunder tanks. They didn't really see any action though. Well, they didn't see any action. Sorry, not really. They didn't see any action at all. Because they came a bit late. The Russians pushed through into Germany and took it over, and basically the tank wasn't needed. But it does work very well against the Tiger II, as you can see. The tank was developed in a time when the Americans needed something big, heavy, and easy to push through into all the German lines, fight the Tigers, manage to sort of withstand their 88mm guns and things like that. So they went on with a number of programs. They were looking at a number of different vehicles and a number of different guns, up to 155mm in fact. This was the smallest of the bunch. They had the smallest gun of the bunch, 105mm. The tank did lots of trials though. This tank was constantly being tried out with different things. Even though it didn't really provide any help for the war, it did provide a lot of help for future development. And this tank had a lot of future development on it. One of the main things that we don't actually see in game is the coincidence rangefinder, which is what a lot of the more modern tanks have, and the French tanks tend to have it a lot as well. And basically what it would do is, on the side of the tank, I'll pop up a picture if I can, basically these two big ears that stick out the side of the turret. We just smash an RU-251s round there. We managed to take it in the track, luckily. Very dangerous tank. Get a hit, and we managed to take out the commander, and that's all. Very annoying there. Got a Tiger as well in front of us. We're just going to charge forwards, and takes out our gun barrel. The RU-251 is a dangerous pilot because it does have heat, of course, which pretty much will go through any of this armour. But that coincidence rangefinder was pretty important. It's just a much quicker and better rangefinder, and it will do a lot of good things. Facing down our death. Luckily he doesn't kill us. We're repairing that gun. Will we repair it in time? This is the question. We're just wiggling the turret because we have a bit of a weak spot on top of the turret. Of course, that 88 can punch through our lower glaciers as well, so we have to be very careful. Now, there were trials with a Allison V12 engine in this thing as well, which would have had a butt ton of horsepower. but it again wasn't used. This tank, as I said, it wasn't very useful in the war effort. There were arguments for it being used in Japan as a bunker buster, but it never really got the chance. But it did help in the development of the M103 heavy tank, and that's where most of its sort of use came in, along with the other developmental tanks at the time to create the super heavy M103 tanks. And as I say, that is where it really comes in. Now I just roll into a big pile of note here. Just hit the turret there, and there is a lot of enemy tanks looking at me. Get that moment of just going, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. One of the other things for this tank is they were developing a new lightweight high velocity armor piercing round with a muzzle velocity of 1,200 meters per second, and that is the whatever this is called, the armor piercing composite rigid shell. We take out a German tank destroyer there, but unfortunately the Tiger E does go through the lower plate of us and takes us out with relative ease. Now, one of the big weaknesses of this tank, as I said, is the lower glaciers, and you really do find that it really doesn't help out. If only that P51 had come a little bit earlier, would have been nice. Anyway, we jump in our backup tank, and we're going to head off again. We managed to get 4 kills there, 2 assists, so not too bad, not too bad at all. So the T-29 is a premium, and it's relatively expensive premium actually. It's one of the higher premiums because it's in the bundle. And with those kind of tanks, you know, you still have to question, is it worth my money? Because, well, it is expensive, you know, and it does cost a lot. And in all honesty, I would say no, not as it is. However, when it's on sale, absolutely snap the thing up. Now, this thing goes on sale maybe once or twice a year, and you'll get 50% off. When it's at 50% off, you're looking at about $20 US for it, and then it is 100% worth it. This thing is an absolute beast. You do have issues with the lower plate, as I've said, and you do have to watch out for the long 88s and just the 88s in general. They do tend to have a lot of punch to them, but this thing has got ridiculous armor. It is fantastic for that. The turret has got 203mm of armor to 305mm of armor around the border of the gun mantlet, with about 158 around the other areas. The other thing is you've got this incredible shell. Now, the gun on this thing is just fantastic. As I said, it's the 105mm, so it's slightly faster loading. But the shell, oh word, the shell, it will just work wonders. You will go through most things. Now, the shell has very good penetration. We've just got a Warbly wind there. Boom, there goes the Warbly wind. The T-13 shell, armor-piercing ballistic cap shell, is just glorious. With around 200mm of penetration across the board, you're not going to have a problem going through anything. You will have the occasional bounce on Tigers if they're positioned in the right spot, because they do have relatively good armour. Misfire there, by the way. I just pressed the button because I went to switch out of binocular mode because there's a Dickomax sitting right in front of me and I do not want any part of his gun. It's just going to reload here. Now, the reload time is a little bit longer on these guns, as I say, but it's not too bad on this tank. You have to remember you've got fantastic armour, and if you don't fluff your shot, it tends to work out quite well. Now, again, we've got the Dickomax there, and we're just going to run away. We just avoided shell, thankfully, because that would have been a pretty much game over. Now we're going to come to a full stop and wait, and then take the shot again. Because this tank does not have very good stabilisation. There is no stabiliser on the gun, of course, and it is quite a wobbly tank with the suspension. Again, it's a very heavy tank, but it is very fast as well for being such a weighty beast. I can't remember what actually the gross tonnage of this thing is, but it is very bloody heavy. You're looking at a max speed of around 37 km per hour, which is just crazy, you know. For a 65, sorry, almost a, sorry, 64,200 kilogram tank. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I just double checking my math there. Yeah, that is pretty incredible. This thing goes very well on the level. It also has 6 crew members, and that is very, very useful, because if you get a crew member taken out, you're going to get the machine gunner moving up to their position, and you're often going to have your gun crew taken out, because there is a big weak spot on this tank just in front of it. So just in this section here where I've got covered up, this top section here is incredibly weak. Now we stop, as we see some firing, I'm going to switch around. But yeah, the front of the manlet is quite weak. Now there is a Panzer Type 70, and we do ricochet there. Now again, as I said, you're not going to go through every single tank's armour with this gun, but you are going to be able to pretty much go through most things. Now I'm going to try and hide my lower plate. I'm trying to spot where he is, but that tree is just in my way. If I just looked left, it would have been a much better option, but no, unfortunately not. The other good thing about this is it's premium, of course. So with that, you're going to get premium research points and premium lines, which is really going to help a lot. It's a 6.7 tank, which is not too bad a rank, actually. You know, you will go up to 7.7 occasionally, and when you do, you're going to struggle a bit. A lot of the vehicles up there are much faster than you. They don't have the armour necessarily, but they are much faster than you. And you do get flanked a lot when you're facing things like leopards and whatever what I'm trying to think of is the STB, that's it, of Japan. You know, those things really do cause problems for you, but you will be able to slightly hold your own in an up tier. As I said, the beauty of this thing is it's just so heavily armoured. Yes, that is a dead tiger there. We just wanted to make sure of that. So this match is going pretty... It's sort of moving side by side. The Germans had the early push. We're getting a slight advantage back, but we're still relatively... we're winning, of course, but we're not in a great state. We're a bit low on vehicles, and they do have a few more vehicles than us and a few more tanks than us. So we're just going to try our best here. Now, I've got an SU there to protect my backside, so that should be good, hopefully. And I luckily don't mess up his shot on that Panther. I'm very sorry to the driver of that SU. Almost messed up his shot, in fact. But we've got a Ostwind there, coming in to try and take out our SU friend. I think he gives me a big friendly fire of high explosive in the backside there. Something hits me in the backside anyway. I don't think it was him. I'm not too sure. But we've got Ostwinds, Wirbelwinds, Panthers, everything. We go into the side of that Wirbel. Don't do too much damage. What we'll do though is we'll use our machine gun. And because we have a glorious 50 cal on board, we can do a lot of damage. Now unfortunately the SU moves forward and gives this Wirbelwind a nice opportunity to come up and give me a big dose of surprise butt sex. Takes out my engine, takes out my transmission, and I'm pretty sure he spots the SU as well, and he's going to try and take that guy out. Try and get my 50 cal on target, swinging around slowly, but unfortunately the Panther manages to get him. So, stuck in a bit of a rock and hard place there. Unfortunately that SU, if it didn't move up, it would have been fine. But still, you know, you never know what's going to happen in play. But probably should have checked his left-hand side, because he would have then noticed it. So, taken out by a Panther. So, the game's sort of swinging back in the Germans' favour now. We're sort of losing a bit. We're having a bit of a rough time. So now time to take out the Pershing, which is the tank that the T-29 is based off of. As I said, basically, the T-29 is a longer version of the Pershing. It just had a slightly longer back section. And the Pershing was pretty much the prototype of this tank. You know, it was just this massive gun in a tank that wasn't really designed for it. And you can see that with the Pershing. When you look at the front suspension, it really doesn't like having this gun on board and the extra armour. The gun looks magnificent though, with the big dampeners on top. It is just a glorious looking weapon. Anyway, we're moving along, so we're chugging along here. We're going to go and try and get B again. We need to capture B to win this game, of course. But the Germans are really holding up well, so doing a fantastic job this game. It was a really close game and a really fun game, actually. I've had a lot of games where I've been just miserable games, but this one was actually quite fun and enjoyable. I've actually had 2 fun and enjoyable games in a row playing these tanks, which is amazing. KV2 there, just getting a lot of machine gun fire at it. KV2 does not care. KV2 just kills people. So KV2 there, just fighting a Panther. Was fighting a Panther. So that Panther is now turned into a fine dust, because KV2 is strong. So we're going to come around, we're just going to try and keep our eyes open. We've got to really take B. We've got enough people at A, hopefully, to hold it off. There's a Panzer IV. Was a Panzer IV. The Pershing is just glorious at those shots. Again, it has a very strong shell. Similar to the T-29. Not quite as much punch, of course, but you do still have around about 200mm of penetration, which is just more than enough, really. You'd think that, you know, that would be more than enough for everything, but no. German tanks, they do like to be very strong and just, you know, not die. So we're going to push up to B. We're just going very slowly. Just keeping an eye. The KV2's got a good watch on us. Just try and keep an eye out for any enemy tanks. We're going to go down this side street. We've got a tank pushing up to the left here. We've got the KV2 here, so we're going to go for a 3-prong attack and see if we can push up and get that position. Hopefully we can. So, as I said, the T-29 was a bit of a failed project, but at the end of it, it did produce a lot of other data that the Americans needed. I am kind of sad that it doesn't get the bunny ears, because, well, the bunny ears, although they would actually pretty much ruin the tank, they just look hilarious. The thing is, if you have them on the tank, they're going to ruin the armour of it, because basically when you've got 2 big side pods sticking out here, basically an 88's going to pen it and kill your crew every time. So it will add some huge weak spots to it. But still, you know, I do like historical accuracy, and I do like to see things that were actually used, and generally that the coincidental rangefinder was used on these things most of the time. The other thing with this tank is it is just fast. Now, T-44 just got taken out there. Crap, okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sit at the edge of this corner, because we just had a tank taken out to the left of us as well. There are Tigers everywhere. Oh crap. Now, we just want to stay on the cap circle here, but we don't want to be out in the open. We've only got half of it to go. There's not much time to go. If we can manage to cap this, we've won the game. If I move out and try and fight those, engage those Tigers, I could lose it. So just sticking just very carefully on this cap circle now. Now we have got somebody else on the other side. If we just pause it here, just go to free camera. We can see we've got the SU here and myself on the other side, and then we should be able to see where our enemies are, maybe. So glorious look over the battlefield. The enemy are really going to have to push in very hard. So there's one of the Tigers down there who's pushing along that street, so not going to be, and that's the big mistake they make. They don't push their advantage, because if they did, they could have won this game. The Tiger E is coming around, but he's on the other side of the street. So again, we've got this point pretty much set up. So the SU manages to hold it, along with myself, just long enough to win the game. Very close moment though, because we were very terrified of the Tigers coming around. We weren't sure how many Tigers there were. The SU takes out the Tiger in the last moments of the game. Fantastic play by him. Captain Knuckle there, just really nice work for him. So good game all in all, and that's the match. So we'll just head to the post-battle screen results. Phew, that was a tense match there. Pretty intense there at the end. So yeah, that wasn't a bad game. You know, sometimes War Thunder takes away and it delivers. Sometimes when you have a good game, you can't help but smile. And this was one of those games for me. It's been a crappy couple of days. I'm just struggling with the game at the moment because it's just been so annoying. But using an overpowered vehicle always helps. T-29. Sorry. But yeah, good game there, I'm not going to deny it. So 10 kills, managed to cap the zone, 22 hits, 10 criticals, and yeah, not bad at all. We also got Eye for an Eye, Double Strike, Shadow Strike, Tank Rescuer, Adamant, Professional, and Heavy Metal Fury, which is always nice. And also a ton of research points there. So 16k research points, not bad at all. That's ridiculous, you know, just... It's nice having it uncapped. It does make it a little bit easier and less painful for this grind. Unfortunately, the Super Pershing didn't really get its teeth into the action. Didn't really do much with the Pershing. I think it was just the one kill with that. So, just the one kill it had. It's a little bit of research on the transmission at least, so that's something. But yeah, bloody good game there. So, finished second in the scoring boards. Obviously, I didn't do enough hits, but that was a fun match. Well played by the enemy team as well, because we looked like we were steamrolling them earlier on, and then they really pushed back well, so that was quite fun indeed. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, give it a like, give it a subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, if you want any questions answered, please leave them in the comments below. I'll answer anything, within reason, of course. But until next time, this is me, Screezilla, out. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm here, don't forget I'm here.
But the other thing he just did there is he did light up the rear tyres and get some heat into them. And that's really important. If you get some heat in those rear tyres, you're just going to get slightly better drive out that restart.
Excellent.
So the pace car is coming in right now.
Excellent pickup, Carl. A little bit of heat gives you that little bit of grip because they cool off while they're just rolling around. So, alright, so pace car's peeling off.
A bit of bounce.
Away we go. Oh!
Away we go.
Did Leah just run up the back of Smith then?
Yeah, actually Leah just ran up the back of Smith, just ran straight into the back, and and Smith's
just gone down.
Martin is going around. Jason Martin's gone around. Jason Martin has gone around into the back.
And it's
big, huge crash.
Massive accident.
Massive.